We, of course, do not respond to the language of threat. This is a fact, and we have proved it in the past. But we do respond to the language of respect.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because on the one hand, Donald Trump pulled out of the nuclear deal that took so long to negotiate, and he's done things that have been very hostile to Iran. But at the moment now, he's saying a deal with Iran would be nice, to use his words. So Donald Trump appears to want to move on. Is Iran prepared to move on as well and negotiate with America under his presidency?
I'm not denying the possibility of a new deal or a new round of negotiations, but I want to refer you to a fact that we have now much more mistrust compared to the previous time.
But he's now saying he wants a deal, and a deal would be nice. If he approaches you with respect, will you negotiate with him?
No, I'm not rejecting that. I want to say that now there is much more mistrust between us, and we have to overcome that mistrust first, and there should be enough confidence for Iran to once again engage into negotiations. And I think we are still a bit far from that. As I said, we are waiting to hear. Yes, have a deal is nice, of course, but what kind of a deal?
The whole region, the whole world knows this region is in turmoil, and they know the heart of the tensions are Iran's relationship with America, those tensions that go back so long. And they're waiting to see, is there a glimmer of hope from what you're hearing from the new president, that some kind of discussions are possible?
Well, diplomacy is based on hopes. So we never lose our hope for any diplomatic effort and for any initiative. We had this experience in the past. We were able to resolve these difficult questions through diplomacy, and that experience can be repeated. But again, the situation is different and much more difficult than previous time. Lots of things should be done by the other side to buy our confidence.
So you're not ruling it out, but you want to hear a lot more from Donald Trump and his government?
Of course, we haven't heard anything but the nice word, and this is obviously not enough.
You said towards the end of last year, we believe the window for diplomacy is still open, albeit for a short time, provided the other parties demonstrate genuine willingness. Without such commitment, we will pursue an alternative course. Now, that has caused concern in the West. Can you explain what do you mean by an alternative course? Because many people say it means Iran possibly pulling out of the nuclear non-proliferation treaty. Is that what you meant?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know what would be the alternative. But I can explain, and I think you would understand that we tried the path of negotiations and confidence building in our peaceful nuclear program. But then it turned into a bad experience. Sanctions came back. So what is that alternative? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, because it is under consideration. It is, and I have to be honest with you, there is a hot debate going on in Iran about that alternative. Yes, there are debates, and debates are very hot at all levels, even in the streets among ordinary people.
But in government, what are people saying? You've got some people saying pursue diplomacy, and the others, what are they saying?
There are different points of view. There are different points of view. I don't know which one would prevail at the end, but the debate is going on. But on October, we would come to the point that we have to make a decision. This is why I told you that October this year could be a point of crisis, and we have to avoid that.
Before we move on, just to clarify, you are prepared to give Donald Trump a chance, at least to listen to what he has to say?
Yeah, of course.
And if he says the right things and approaches with respect, you will talk with Donald Trump?
Then we will decide.
If he says the right things, then you will negotiate with America?
Well, as I told you, we will decide. I'm not telling you that we would reject whatever he says.
You won't rule it out?
Of course, we will consider that, and we will discuss about that. We have always made rational decisions. We have proved that.
Can we move on to Israel? We've heard from Israel's foreign minister saying there's been no better time for Israel to strike Iran. Iran's at its weakest. And Donald Trump has said he's prepared to support Israel in that if a deal can't be done. How worried are you by that prospect?
Well, this is not a new threat. And they know that this is not a real threat because they know our capabilities to respond. And we have made it clear that any attack to our nuclear facilities would be faced with an immediate and decisive response. But I don't think they will do that crazy thing. This is really crazy. And this would turn the whole region into a very bad disaster. I don't even want to talk about that. Why? Because I think this is not a real threat.
And on that subject, on the subject of Israel, the Palestinians and Gaza, Donald Trump yesterday said that one option could be cleaning out Gaza. He proposed that and the Palestinians moving somewhere else. Is that a red line for Iran? I mean, if that was to happen, what would Iran do?
Well, I think this is a project many people tried to do in the past, but they have all failed. You know, Palestine cannot be deleted from this region, and Palestinians cannot be expelled. So my suggestion is something else. Instead of Palestinians, try to expel Israelis. Take them to Greenland, so they can kill two birds with one stone. So they can resolve the problem in Greenland and Israelis. So it would be a good place for them.
You don't think the Israelis have a right to live in what they regard as their homeland?
Well, everybody has the right to live, but nobody has the right to occupy others' lands. And this is the land of Palestinians, and Palestinians should decide for their land and their destiny.
In the last year, we've seen Hamas weakened, we've seen Hezbollah massively weakened, we've seen the death of Hassan Nasrallah, a close ally of Iran's. We've seen Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas leader, assassinated here in this very city. We've seen your ally Bashar al-Assad toppled from power. Is it fair to say that your strategy is just not working, that you need to have a complete rethink about how you operate in the region?
Well, I don't think so. These are quite, things which happen in the world,
Things that happen? I mean, surely you must admit that you've lost a lot this year. You've lost allies who've been assassinated. You've seen allies thrown from power by Sunni jihadi enemies of Iran. Will you concede that things have not moved in Iran's way this last year?
So, can I answer this in Parsi?
I believe that the resistance has been rendered several serious blows, but we have to know that resistance is a school of thought. It is a cause that is still alive, and it is still there and is breathing. That is true. Hamas and Hezbollah have been damaged, but at the same time they are rebuilding themselves. And because, as I said, this is a school of thought, this is an idea, this is a cause, this is an ideal that will always be there.